Christ is risen. He is risen indeed, has been proclaimed in the Lothians for some 1400 years. Throughout that time, there have been many changes and some dark days. The church changed and is changing in response to the Spirit of God.
We have to be on our guard and to be alert, to keep watch. But to keep watch isn't just to scan the heavens, looking up at the sky for a sign. But if we do that, we're avoiding our part in God's purposes. As the people of God, our waiting must always be about hope and about sharing our hope in a world which at times is without hope.
Well, clearly we are shrinking as a church, and I think we are being pushed to the margins of society. Although I think that's possibly the place where the church does its best work historically.
We have clubs throughout a week for young people. We get anywhere between 50 and 90 kids along. And I think it's the kind of thing of when they see that there is that practical difference and where that love is made real, there's an interest in why. Because I think as society gets more fractured and as it gets more divided, and actually as it gets more and more online, it gets to that point where our face-to-face interactions are very different and we're very used to voicing our opinions about things without necessarily having any comeback from other people, and getting back to a place where life is face-to-face, where there's that interaction, where there's that community. It's such a strong place to be.
There's a community recycling project which has broken down barriers between the church and the wider community. Some people who just come on a Tuesday to buy stuff and have a coffee call this their church now, even though they're never there on a Sunday. And we're busy trying to conspire how we can bring something of the love of Jesus to them week by week. And you start to see that we can do something together, that actually community is not something that was invented by sociologists. They just look at it. Community was something that flows from the Godhead as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit decide that in communion they're going to create us to be in communion with them. The one true life-giving community is the one that God gives to us, whether we know it or not, regardless of whether we're Christian or Buddhist or atheist or agnostic or Jedi.
In my day job as a politician, when I look at community-based efforts, you will almost always find the church and faith-based groups involved. So the church really still has a very pivotal place to play in society.
Fundamentally, what we do is we go into people's houses at their invitation and we help them to get out of debt. The aim also is to bring the word of the gospel into those homes if we're invited to do so. The church is in a different place nowadays, and we have to look at how we get out of the church building and get into communities to help people.
We cover the whole of Midlothian. It's run on a referral basis, and we give out 3 days emergency food to help people who are in crisis. We like to give food that they're actually going to eat, that they like. It's all about restoring their dignity. The best sign for hope would be when the food bank closes its doors and we're no longer needed. But for now, I'm just glad that we're here.
And we are here because we are called to turn aside. Moses was the first. Curiosity got the better of him, and the church embraced it. In turning, we change direction. We return to God. We move out into the community. We turn aside. We're off the main road in an unexpected place where the bush is not burnt and never will be.
I think people will always turn to the church, especially in times of difficulty, because it's always there. I think that's very important.